I think it's part of the bull move off the low. I've been adding as much as I can every time I get any free cash flow since June. And I think it's real. Of course, we'll get some sort of correction. My actual fear to think through, to get a bit more markets related, my fear here is, okay, the institutions and everybody FOMOs in. So ETH, let's say it hits 3,000, whether it's this year, next year, right? Well, there's going to be this stampede for people to come back in. There's 18% of the entire crypto market's in stable coins, plus all of these institutions are waiting for price action. Now we've got a massive issue that ETH is deflationary the more activity there is. So you're going to get more people joining the space when there's less supply, and it's going to get price dislocations. I'm not sure that this deflationary thing, part of ETH, has been thought through fully what it could mean. So there's some points in time where this thing could get completely out of control.
Macroeconomic investor Raoul Pal in his latest interview believes that in 2023 there is going to be a stampede of capital and institutional investors coming into the space. With 18% of the entire crypto market on the sidelines being held in stablecoins, combined with a huge amount of investors waiting by the wayside for any sort of price action, the stage is set for some explosive moves upwards. Now, couple all of this with the new supply issuance of Ethereum following the merge, with the supply now being deflationary and becoming more deflationary the more the network is used, the upside on Ethereum is massive. Make sure to stick around to the end of the video where Raoul explains why he believes NFTs are going to be the driving force of adoption in the Ethereum ecosystem. Also, only a small percentage of my viewers are actually subscribed. If you enjoy finance content, consider subscribing or liking the video. It's free and you can always change your mind.
2018 was the last time the Federal Reserve stopped raising rates. They didn't cut until, I think it was August 2019. So what happened was, the moment the Fed went on hold, the markets went on an upside rampage. They were down kind of 30% and then it recovered, so not wildly dissimilar to now. And if I look out over the next year, well, the S&P did about 10%, the NASDAQ did about 14%, kind of those growthy tech stocks, the kind of ARK style stuff, they did about 18%. So that was good. Bitcoin did 100%. And that's after it had gone up 400% and corrected. So, and even that, take back the all-time high, it took the following year for the all-time high to take out. So I think it's going to be a positive year, but that kind of choppy year where one minute you think, oh my God, it's going straight to the high. Then it's like, oh my God, it's gone back down. We're all going to die. And then it stabilizes. And it's generally, I think we'll look back and go, okay, we survived and we've actually made some money again, or made some money back, let's put it that way. The social token thesis still stands, but it's harder to execute for people. So I do think that many communities will be tokenized communities, these digital nation states that I've talked about and Balaji's talked about, all that kind of stuff. It is coming, but I think what people have found is securities laws and other stuff make it easier to use NFTs to do that initially. So you can start with a smaller nation state by using NFTs. So I think we've seen that, and we're seeing the ability to get NFTs out at scale for very cheap prices. And Ticketmaster are the first people to really do that. I mean, they've got 10 million NFTs out. Right? Nobody realizes we should be thanking Ticketmaster. We're too busy shouting at them over Taylor Swift gigs, but really, Ticketmaster did a phenomenal job getting tokens into people's hands. So I think that kind of free giving out of NFTs is the new brand marketing unlock, and it's going to be huge. So NFTs to me still remain a really big thing. So I think ticketing is a huge way of giving it to a lot of people. I think digital identity is the thing we have to solve in 2 years, whether that's, and it probably is an NFT. Now, and it needs to have a zero knowledge proof. Why is that so important? And why is it such the biggest thing in the world is we're going to the US election in 2 years' time, and we've just unleashed OpenAI. We can make voice text to video instantaneously. And within 6 months, Ahmad and their stable diffusion stuff is going to go exponential with that. So we can basically create any video content we want, and we can create deepfakes. So I can have Carly shilling US government bonds instead of JPEG, and there's nothing you can do about it, and nobody's going to know whether it's authentic. So we don't know who's authentic online right now, and then we don't know what content is authentic, and it can be same with audio. If you saw that audio podcast between AI Joe Rogan and Steve Jobs, and also GPT-3, ask it to write an article in the style of the New York Times, and it does. All you need to put is branding on it. I put it on my Twitter, say, hey, look at this article in the New York Times. Biden's agreed to nuke Russia, nobody knows what the fuck is true. Going into an election, this is a huge societal problem because we've got state actors involved in this as well. So we've got a lot of bad players who can leverage this technology very quickly and nobody's ready for it. And I think the only way of dealing with this is authentication of content. So therefore, and authentication of people, which I think is an NFT use case. So I think it's urgent, and I think it has to come from Google, Amazon, Meta, and the big players, which I know nobody wants to hear, but it's the only way of doing this fast enough. But for us with bags, this is good because we're onboarding people in a way that has to happen. It's societally important to get done, and I'm trying to get this out to as many people as possible, this message, because I don't think people have thought it through. They don't understand the impact of AI. If we thought the last two elections were complicated and the Brexit vote with other nation states in interference, this is terrifying because you can make now at scale millions of different messages of Biden saying different things or whoever saying different things to different people instantaneously according to your activities online. But I think everybody's thinking way too small about NFTs because they understand today. Remember, this problem with macro is everyone's looking at today and saying, well, it's going to look like this, sort of, just a bit more. All NFTs are contracts, smart contracts, we know that, right? But every contract, and humans only exist, society exists from contracts. Everything we do, me coming on the podcast today, is a contract. That token that allows people here to ask questions is a contract. Your insurance policy, everything you do, your passport is a contract. All of this gets tokenized. So human society only functions with contracts, because if not, there's no trust. So contract is trust. So that is what's coming with NFTs. That is where it's all being built out. The other way of thinking about it is, if that's not big enough, it's also property. So when I was in Spain back in 2012, Europe fell apart and the euro was really strong, 148.5. It recently traded on 90 cents. I was like, okay, I think that the dollar's going to be stronger, the euro's going to be weaker. So I want to get my savings out, my life savings, and I want to stop out of euros into dollars, and I want to start billing my global macro investor, my research service people in dollars, not euros, which is quite a brave bet because I was living in Spain. But I did it. And then I thought, okay, now I've got these dollars, what do I do? So bought a property in Miami and in the Cayman Islands. And so therefore, I now get the appreciation of the property if it goes up, and the dollar appreciation. The other way I also did it was buying US government bonds, and it gave me an interest. So now let's look at the world of Ethereum, the nation state of Ethereum. Well, the property we own are the JPEGs. They can go up versus Ethereum, which is really interesting, or we can choose to get our bond yield, which is staking. I mean, this is an incredible nation state that's being built here, and people don't really understand it yet. So those JPEGs, all of those NFTs that are in my token frame in my background, that is not only digital property rights, which we kind of understand, but it's representing that every single contract that we have can be recorded, transferred, and verified via NFTs. So that is not a tens of billions dollar market. That's not a hundreds of billions of dollar market. That is everything. I was looking at this the other day. My punk just doesn't go up in value in ETH. It's like stuck at, it's like a stable coin at 65 ETH. Yeah, that's the floor price. But the ETH goes up and down, right? Now, and that was another interesting thing. Just as a side note, I'm going to write an article about this. So I think punks are Bitcoin and apes are Ethereum, because Bitcoin is a store of value. There's got basically no other use. There is no value benefits accrued. So why did apes flip punks? And I've only just thought this thing through. It wasn't because we all preferred the art or the community. It's because the apes accrued value from everything that Yuga was doing. So therefore, of course, they should trade at a premium. Doesn't all